Hey guys, welcome back for episode 2 of how to make a river resin table. Last time we cut the slabs to size, moulded them up and poured the resin. After releasing it from the moulds, it went off to the CNC and today we're going to get it back. So along with finishing off the table, we're also going to fabricate the legs and complete this project. So we're back in CAD and this is the leg design that I have in mind. 3 different lengths, 45 degrees to one another. So I'm taking some 20mm square steel and I'm going to cut that to size. Just need to start off making one of these, and then from that I can just use it as a template for the rest. Using that one template for the rest worked out really well, and it's relatively easy to get all the parts square and flush to one another. Once tacked together, it's a straight shot to finish it off. Given the odd shape of the legs, I had more difficulty actually positioning the pieces so I could get the torch where I wanted it. Off camera, I added mounting tabs for the table and sealed up the tubes at the base of the table legs with small plates. Then it's on to my favourite thing, filling, sanding, painting, filling, sanding, painting, filling, sanding, painting, filling, sanding, painting. All in all, the legs weren't too hard to fabricate. That's what we have after a bit of wet sanding and a few hits of satin black paint. Not half bad. So we got the table back now, and there's definitely a bit of work to do, a lot of things to fill, and a bit of sanding to do. But overall I'm pretty impressed. It has some really awesome grain features, and it looks like the resin is going to come out awesome. You can see here I've flipped the table over and I masked the underside for that first pour to make sure any leaks are going to get stemmed by that tape. After taking off the majority of the high spots with this plane, check out my other video, I can then go on to hitting the table with some serious grit sandpaper. Starting out here with 40 grit sandpaper, really take down those horrible spots of resin and take out the CNC marks. And then it's on through to 80, 120, 240 and 400. In between I fill in the minor imperfections with CA glue. And this is very much an iterative process, filling one side, sanding, filling the other side, progressing to the next grit, filling any imperfections again, so on and so forth. And before the final sand, I give that a pop with some water to lift up those wood fibres and really knock it down smooth. And then hit all the edges with a 3mm round over bit. Now to get a really glossy finish on the resin, we're going to have to sand to a lot higher grit. Continuing on from 400 all the way up to 2000. Before progressing to buffing with cutting and polishing compounds. One of the final steps is to attach the legs with threaded inserts glued in place. Once it can stand on its own after attaching some rubber feet, it's then onto applying a finishing compound. In this case, I'm using a Evolution hard wax oil, which helps treat the wood and protect it from dirt and moisture. This is applied in a number of coats across a couple of days. In my case, because the wood was quite absorbent, I applied 3 coats with some light sanding in between. This is one of those compounds where you apply it generously and you remove any excess after a short period of time. So this is what we end up with. All in all, I'm pretty impressed. It certainly is something one of a kind, and it certainly looks pretty amazing. But I want to hear what you guys think. Chuck a comment below of how you think this project turned out. So let's go through some do's and don'ts that I've learnt from this project. So firstly, do ensure you have a good base coat to seal any trapped air in the wood. I'm pretty sure my base coat was insufficient to prevent the escape of air into the poured resin. As I said before also, don't pour resin deeper than recommended. If your application calls for a deep pour, then use deep pour resin. Otherwise your resin is going to kick super fast, super hot, and you're going to have the cracking, the pull away, and the bubbling that I've seen. Also, don't overdo the use of heat to remove bubbles in your resin pours. There's only so much you can do without a vacuum chamber or a pressure pot. I used a lot of heat to try and get those bubbles out of my resin, and that only accelerated the reaction further, worsening my issues. Finally, don't adjust the mold after you've done your pour. I did this and I think it tweaked the positioning of the molded material and allowed those air bubbles to escape from voids that would have otherwise gone unnoticed. But ultimately, it works as a table, and that's all I was really after. The learning is a bonus. Thanks for watching today, guys. If you like this, chuck us a like, and sub if you want to see more of this kind of content in the future. Thanks for watching. Bye.